right now, like as you are listening to this, your brain is probably lying to you.
Oh, almost certainly. Yeah.
In fact, it generates thousands of thoughts every single day, and a huge number of them are just complete fiction.
Total fiction. But they feel so real, don't they?
They really do. And, if you're like most people, you will probably lie in bed tonight treating every single one of those worst case scenarios as an absolute fact.
Right.
You're trying to sleep, the room is completely quiet, but your mind is just racing. You are constantly overthinking, doubting yourself, and, I don't know, replaying some slightly awkward conversation from like 3 years ago again and again.
Oh, yeah. It's an exhausting way to live. I mean, when you're stuck in that cycle, constantly replaying negative situations,
Yeah.
doesn't just keep you awake. It slowly drains your confidence over time. It completely ruins your mood.
For sure.
And it steals your peace of mind. You start to feel like you're carrying this massive heavy weight around your neck all day, and you don't know how to take it off.
Exactly. And the really tricky part is that negative thinking can become this like deeply stubborn habit. We do it without even realizing we're doing it. But here's the good news, and really the mission for our deep dive today. We're going to explore how to calmly manage these thoughts.
Yes, which is so important.
It really is, because when you finally learn how to do this, you can drastically improve your confidence, you can find real emotional balance, regain your focus, and honestly, just make your daily life so much brighter. So, hey listeners, welcome to English Made Simple, where you learn real English for real-life conversations in a simple and natural way.
It's wonderful to be here sharing this space with you all. And, to really get to the bottom of this, we have to start at the source.
Right.
Before we can stop our negative thoughts, we really have to understand what our brain is actually doing all day long.
Yeah, because you can't fix an engine if you don't know how it works, right?
Exactly.
So what is the brain actually doing when it spirals like that? I mean, what's happening?
Well, think of your brain as a word machine.
A word machine.
Yeah, a word machine. Now, a machine's only job is to constantly produce things, right?
Yeah.
Like a pasta machine makes pasta.
Right. Okay.
Well, your brain's job is to produce words, ideas, and thoughts. It just constantly generates stuff. We experience like millions of thoughts every single day.
Okay, I have to push back on that just a little bit, though.
Sure. Okay.
Because calling it a machine makes it sound so, I don't know, robotic.
Mm-hmm.
But my thoughts, especially the really negative ones, they feel deeply personal, like they say something true about who I am.
Right. And that's the illusion. And it is a very, very convincing one. But let's look at it from an evolutionary perspective.
Okay.
Thousands of years ago, our ancestors survived because their brains were constantly longing for danger. The brain's main job isn't actually to make you happy.
Wait, really? It's not.
No, its job is to keep you alive. So this word machine is programmed to constantly scan for threats, predict worst-case scenarios, and remind you of past mistakes so you don't repeat them.
Ah, okay. So it's acting like this, like, overprotective alarm system.
Precisely. It's just trying to help. But here is where it gets dangerous for us in the modern world. We don't even notice most of these thoughts happening.
We don't.
Not really, no. They pop into our heads, and we instantly, like, blindly believe them. We rarely stop to ask, wait, is this thought actually true?
Oh, wow. Yeah, we just accept it as absolute fact.
Exactly.
I've always liked the fish in the ocean analogy for this.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, like, think about a fish swimming underwater. The fish is completely surrounded by water, but it doesn't even know what water is.
Right, it doesn't analyze it.
Exactly. It's just the environment it lives in.
Yeah.
And our thoughts are exactly like water to a fish. We are just swimming in our thoughts all day long, and we rarely step back to notice we're even wet.
That's a fantastic visual. We are just swimming in it. And another great way to conceptualize it is to imagine you are wearing a pair of glasses.
Okay, glasses.
Yeah. Your thoughts are the lenses you look through. So if you put on a pair of glasses with lenses that say, the world is a harsh, mean place,
Right.
then when you look around, a harsh, mean world is exactly what you will see.
That makes total sense.
And if you wear lenses that say people are generally good, you'll notice acts of kindness. Your thoughts completely color your entire view of reality.
So if we're just wearing these negative glasses without even realizing it, it makes total sense why we get so exhausted.
Oh, absolutely.
Because our instinct isn't usually to take the glasses off, right? Our instinct is to, like, fight the ugly things we see through them.
Yes.
So let's look at what happens when we go to war with our own thoughts.
That is exactly what happens. We try to fight them, And well, it usually makes things worse.
Right. Like, let's say you make a minor mistake at work and your brain generates the thought, I am such an idiot.
Hmm.
The natural human response is to try and violently fight that thought.
Yeah.
You try to shout over it in your own head saying, no, I'm not. I'm very capable. I'm smart.
But if we're being honest here, shouting back at the thought doesn't actually make you feel any better, does it? Or more confident?
Not at all. It feels sort of like wrestling a pig in the mud.
Wrestling a pig, I love that.
Yeah, you both get dirty, and the pig likes it.
That is so true.
When you fight the thought, it just traps you in this endless loop. You push against the anxiety, and the anxiety pushes back twice as hard. It completely steals all of your energy.
I'd love to hear, like, a real-life example of how this loop plays out for someone.
Oh, sure. Let me share the story of a young man named Miguel.
Okay, Miguel.
Yeah. So Miguel struggled with extreme overthinking, particularly at social events.
Very common.
Yeah, and he had a really good group of friends, but every time he went to a party with them, he would feel incredibly anxious.
Man, that's tough.
Hmm.
Because parties are supposed to be relaxing, you know? But for an overthinker, they can feel like navigating a minefield.
Exactly.
So what exactly would happen to Miguel?
Well, he would make a simple joke, people would laugh, but then, like, immediately his heart would start racing. The panic would set in.
Oh, no.
He would start thinking, did I say the wrong thing? Did I offend someone? Did I laugh too loud? And then the endless loop would just start.
Because he would start fighting that panic.
Right. So the party would split up, like some friends going to the swimming pool, others going to the game room,
Mhm.
and Miguel would stand there feeling completely terrified. He was paralyzed, not knowing which group to join, worried he'd make the wrong choice and annoy someone.
Wow.
Then his brain would say, I can't believe you're getting anxious over a swimming pool. You're such a loser.
Oh, the word machine being cruel.
Exactly. And then Miguel would fight that thought, telling himself, stop being anxious. Act normal? What is wrong with you?
That sounds agonizing. He was completely trapped in his own head.
It really was. And the saddest observation about Miguel's situation is that he was spending absolutely all of his energy fighting this internal war. He was so busy battling his own thoughts that it completely prevented him from actually enjoying the party, connecting with his friends, or like just living his life. His thoughts stole the present moment from him.
He was completely missing out on reality. But, you know, this raises a really important question.
What's that?
Why was his internal alarm system going off at a fun party in the first place? Like, why are some people's word machines so much harsher than others?
That is a great question. Why is it?
Usually it comes down to hidden, unwritten rules.
Unwritten rules. You mean like the arbitrary standards we hold ourselves to without realizing it?
Yes, exactly.
Like how I always feel I have to reply to an email within 5 minutes, or else I'm being unprofessional.
Exactly like that. An unwritten rule is a strict, invisible law you force yourself to follow, but you never actually wrote it down, and most of the time, you don't even realize it's controlling your behavior.
Oh, wow.
So let's look deeper into Miguel's story. Miguel was operating under a massive hidden rule. His rule was, I am never allowed to make anyone feel bad.
Wow. Never allowed to make anyone feel bad.
Yeah.
I mean, on the surface, that sounds like he's just a really nice guy. But as a rule, that sounds utterly exhausting.
It is exhausting, and it ruined many parts of his life. Because when that is your strict rule, you sacrifice your own well-being.
Right.
For example, Miguel stayed in a romantic relationship for an entire extra year, even though he knew he wanted to break up.
Are you serious? An extra year?
Yes. Why? Simply to avoid making his girlfriend feel bad.
Oh, that is a heavy burden to carry. To give up a year of your life just to manage someone else's emotions?
It really is. And here's a smaller but very relatable example. If he went to a restaurant and the food was completely burnt or, cooked wrong,
Uh-huh.
the waiter would ask, how is everything tasting? And Miguel would smile, eat the terrible food, and lie, saying it tastes great.
Oh, man. I think we've all done that at some point.
Right. He did this because he was terrified of making the waiter feel bad or causing a scene.
Okay, let's unpack this. Why is this specific unwritten rule such a trap? Like we said, it sounds nice to care about people's feelings. We don't want to be selfish.
Well, it's wonderful to care about people,
Yeah.
but as a strict, unbending rule, it is psychologically impossible to maintain.
Because we can't control everyone.
Exactly. We simply cannot control how other people feel. You can be the kindest, most polite person in the world, and someone might still misinterpret your tone and feel bad.
It's so true.
Trying to control other people's emotions is just a guaranteed recipe for deep chronic anxiety.
Because you're taking responsibility for something entirely out of your hands.
Yes.
And hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this, subscribe to our channel for more English listening practice. But yeah, you can't control everyone.
Exactly. So the healthier habit isn't to stop caring, but to replace that impossible rule with a realistic one.
Okay, what does that look like?
Instead of, I can never make anyone feel bad, the new rule becomes, I value being kind and assertive, but I cannot control everyone's feelings.
I really like that word assertive. It means you can state what you need politely but firmly. Like, you can be a kind person, but you still have to be honest when the food is burnt.
Right.
I value being kind and assertive, but I cannot control everyone's feelings. It takes so much pressure off.
It really does. But, knowing the rule is only half the battle. We still have to deal with the thoughts when they pop up.
Yeah.
We know we can't fight them because that wastes energy. So how do we actually escape them?
Well, the secret is learning to look at your thoughts instead of looking through them.
I love that phrasing.
Yeah. If you go back to the glasses analogy, the goal isn't to shatter the glasses or, fight the lenses. We just want to take the glasses off and hold them in our hands so we can look at them objectively.
Perfectly said. We need to create a little bit of psychological distance. There is a very simple but incredibly effective mental habit you can practice to separate yourself from your thoughts.
Okay, what is it?
Let's actually do a quick exercise together right now.
Oh, all right. I'm game. How does it work?
Let's take a very common negative thought. Let's use the thought, I am awkward.
Oof. Yeah, very common.
Now, when you just sit there and think, I am awkward, you instantly believe it. It feels like a permanent personality trait. It feels like a solid fact.
Definitely.
But let's do step 1 of the exercise. I want you to say the exact same thought, but start the sentence with these words. I am having the thought that...
the thought.
Good. Now, how does that feel slightly different than just saying, I am awkward?
It feels a little less permanent. Like I'm not the embodiment of awkwardness itself. I'm just currently holding a thought about it.
Exactly. Now, let's do step 2, which takes it even further.
Okay.
This time, I want you to add the words, I noticed that, to the very beginning of the sentence.
Okay, here we go. I notice that I am having the thought that I am awkward.
Wow. What happened there? What did you physically feel?
That's a wild shift. Just adding the words I notice creates this, sudden, relaxing distance in my chest. It reminds me that I am a person who is experiencing a thought. I'm not the thought itself. I'm the observer.
That's exactly why this works. We talk about shifting brain states. When you just think, I am awkward, you're stuck in the emotional, panicked part of your brain.
Right.
But the moment you say, I notice, you force your brain to shift into its logical observing center. You realize your word machine just produced a random word, and you simply noticed it. You don't have to buy into it.
That is such a practical, real-life tool. I notice I am having the thought that it just takes a scary, aggressive thought and turns it into just another passing cloud in the sky.
It truly does. And building on that idea of creating distance, another great way to stop taking these negative thoughts so seriously is to treat them like an annoying, uninvited guest.
Oh, I know those kinds of guests. Like someone who crashes your party, complains about the music, and eats all the good snacks, but you can't officially kick them out.
Precisely. Since you can't kick them out, you just change how you interact with them.
Yeah.
You can literally give your negative spiral of thoughts a name.
A name. Really?
Yeah. You can call it the negative mind or the inner critic. Or, even better, give it a funny, ridiculous name like Billy Bob.
Billy Bob. Okay, treating my deepest insecurities as a guy named Billy Bob definitely makes it sound a lot less intimidating.
That's exactly the goal.
Yeah.
When your brain generates a terrible, heavy thought, like you will never be successful at this job, you don't fight it, you don't panic.
Right, no wrestling the pig.
Exactly. You just notice it and say, oh, there's Billy Bob again, complaining in the corner and telling me what to think.
I can see how that immediately diffuses the tension. But what about being polite to it? I've heard you can simply say to your brain, thank you, mind, for that thought, but it's not helpful right now.
Yes, that's another great technique.
Wait, if I'm having a genuine panic attack about a huge presentation, saying thank you feels incredibly passive, doesn't that just let the negative thought win?
That's a really valid pushback. It does sound counterintuitive. But thinking your mind isn't about agreeing with a thought, it's about ending the struggle.
Okay, how so?
Think of your brain like an overprotective guard dog.
A guard dog, okay.
The dog barks aggressively because it thinks a shadow outside is a burglar. If you scream at the dog to shut up, the dog gets more stressed and barks louder.
Yeah, it thinks you're yelling at the burglar, too.
Exactly. But if you walk over, look out the window, pat the dog on the head, and say, "Thank you, buddy. I see the shadow, but we're safe." The dog calms down.
Oh, that makes so much sense. By saying thank you, mind, I'm acknowledging that my brain is just trying to protect me, but I'm choosing not to act on the false alarm. I'm putting down the rope so the tug of war is over.
Exactly. You decline the invitation to worry.
Yeah.
But, sometimes simply naming a thought or saying thank you isn't quite enough.
Yeah, sometimes the thoughts are just too stubborn.
Right. Sometimes the thought is incredibly loud, sticky, and deeply ingrained. When that happens, we can use specific physical or verbal tricks to strip away the thought's power.
I'm intrigued. What kind of verbal tricks actually work against a loud mind?
Well, one of the most effective is taking the word that scares you and repeating it until it breaks.
Until it breaks.
Now, when you have a heavy negative word attached to your identity, repeating it rapidly takes away its meaning.
Wait, how does repeating a word help? Doesn't that just drill it deeper into my head?
Let's test it out and see. Let's go back to that word awkward. I want you to say the word awkward out loud 10 to 15 times in a row as fast as you can. Let's see what happens to the word.
Okay, here we go. Awkward. 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 Awkward.
Okay, how does the word sound to you right now?
It completely stops sounding like a real English word. My mouth feels funny. It just sounds like a silly, meaningless noise. Awkward. It has absolutely zero emotional power anymore.
That's the mechanism at work. Psychologists call it semantic satiation. But in simple terms, by repeating it, you remind your brain that a word is just a sound. It's just a shape your mouth makes. It is not a magical truth that defines your soul. You expose the word for what it is, and you take all its power away.
That's fascinating. It really proves the point that the brain is just a word machine spitting out sound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about a physical trick, because sometimes we need a tangible reminder. This is often called the heavy rock technique.
That heavy rock technique, okay.
There was a young woman who suffered from severely low self-esteem. She constantly carried around the thought, "I am unlovable."
Oh, that is such a painful, heavy thought to carry through your daily life.
It's devastating. So she decided to make that invisible burden physical. She found a heavy rock, a real stone that weighed about 10 pounds.
Okay.
She took a marker and wrote the words, "I am unlovable," right on the rock.
Okay, so she gave the ghost haunting her a physical body.
Yes. And she made a deal with herself. Whenever she believed that thought, whenever she bought into the idea that she was truly unlovable, she forced herself to physically carry that heavy 10-pound rock around the house with her.
Oh, man. I mean, 10 pounds doesn't sound like much at first, but carrying it for hours, your arms would get so tired. Your back would ache.
It was completely exhausting. But that was the point. She realized how much energy the thought was stealing from her. So when she finally decided she didn't want to buy into the thought anymore, she would physically set the heavy rock down on the floor.
What a brilliant metaphor. She didn't throw the rock away or smash it. She just chose not to carry it.
Precisely. The thought, the rock, it's still sitting right there in the corner of the room. She can see it, it exists, but she doesn't have to carry it. She can just let it sit there where she goes about her day, cooking, laughing, and living her life.
I think that perfectly summarizes everything we've explored today. The negative thoughts are going to exist. The word machine will keep running. But you don't have to pick them up and carry them.
Well said. This has been a deeply important conversation. Let's do a quick recap of the most crucial ideas we unpacked today so our listeners can really walk away with these tools.
Yes, a quick review is always helpful. First, we learned that the brain is a biological word machine. It generates thousands of thoughts to protect us, and we usually just swim in them like a fish in water, believing every worst-case scenario instantly.
Right. And second, we realized that we shouldn't waste our precious energy fighting those negative thoughts. Fighting them just signals to your brain that the threat is real, trapping you in an endless loop, just like Miguel paralyzed at the party.
Third, instead of fighting, we can create psychological distance. We can use the phrase, "I notice I am having the thought," that to shift our brain out of panic mode and remind ourselves that we are just the observer looking through the glasses.
Fourth, we can give the negative inner critic a silly name, like Billy Bob, and calmly say, "Thank you, mind, but I'm safe right now," choosing to drop the rope and stop the tug of war.
And finally, we can strip the power away from hurtful words by repeating them until they sound like silly noises. Or we can use the heavy rock technique. We can acknowledge the thought exists in the room, but simply choose to put it down.
Those are incredibly practical habits to build for a healthier, more emotionally balanced daily life. Now, we want to hear directly from you, our listeners. We love connecting with you in the comments.
We really do. Please drop a comment down below and tell us 3 specific things. Number 1, where are you from? We love seeing where everyone is listening from around the world. Number 2, what is the negative thought you struggle with the most? Let's be honest and create a supportive space for each other. And number 3, did you find today's deep dive helpful?
We truly look forward to reading your answers and continuing the conversation down there.
Before we sign off, we want to leave you with one final provocative thought to take with you today. Something to really chew on as you go about your week.
Next time you feel totally overwhelmed by sudden anxiety or a wave of self-doubt, pause for just a moment and ask yourself, are you reacting to reality, or are you just wearing a pair of negative glasses that you forgot you had on? And how drastically would your day change if you simply noticed them and took them off?